Hey everybody, it's Party Elite with a beginner's guide to Total War Warhammer. We've got another episode of Quick Tips here, answering questions that I've seen alongside miscellaneous tips that don't call for their own videos. As with every 10th episode so far, I want to say thanks to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. Whether you're watching me on YouTube, helping spread the word, or supporting me through Patreon, it's all very appreciated. We've got to 7,500 subscribers now. Things have slowed down a bit, but don't worry, I'll be picking up the pace soon. With all that mush out of the way, let's get back to warring. When you're playing as the vampire counts, you've probably noticed that units tend to see a fight to its end, whether that's a good end or not. This is because routing and shattering works very differently with the vampire count units. All vampire count units are undead, which means they don't fear death in the standard sense and will stand their ground and fight to the finish. To balance that, the Crumbling mechanic is put in place to cause additional deaths to undead units if the fighting goes on with low morale. Think of it as the magic that binds them weakening, causing them to literally crumble. Disintegration is a higher tier of crumbling, collapsing a unit extremely quickly until it's gone. You can tell if a unit is crumbling or disintegrating by looking at the unit card. This glowing effect implies the unit is falling apart. If a unit starts to crumble, find a way to restore their morale or keep them out of immediate danger. While the ability to stand and fight to death means your units can hold a line and won't turn tail and run, it also means that they can't come back from routing. This one might sound obvious, but ranged units can only fire the distance of their firing arc. This means they can engage units that are partially inside the arc, but only the individuals that are within that range. Keep this in mind as you whittle down the enemy's numbers, because your archers won't move ahead to attack the rest of the unit until the individuals currently in range are wiped out. This means all of your archers could be firing at a grand total of 2 individuals, with most of those arrows hitting the ground instead. Targeting a dense collection of individuals gives you maximum damage per volley, so firing into these strays is wasteful. Keep a lookout for difficult terrain. Different unit sizes struggle in different types of terrain. Some units, such as those riding spiders among the greenskins, have the Strider trait, which allows them to ignore terrain penalties, but typically, terrain will affect combat stats as well as movement speeds, and in some cases, it goes beyond that. Infantry running through or fighting in a marsh is slowed down and will fight poorly, sure, but cavalry trying to pull a charge through some forests will have their cohesion broken, resulting in a charge with less impact for reasons beyond the reduced speed. To see just what the effects of terrain are, select the unit the tooltip says will be affected, and hover over the difficult terrain again. Now it will give you numerical details. Keep these factors in mind when plotting your movements. Remember, fatigue is extremely important, so when it comes time to get from point A to point B, you want to do it efficiently. And when you get to point B, don't let the trees hit you on your way in. If you're wondering why people tend to use demigryph knights with halberds over the Empire's other cavalry options, it's pretty simple. It's because of their anti-large trait. This gives them a very big edge above any other large units. While that includes giants and monsters, it is also extremely helpful against other cavalry. Demigryph knights with halberds can destroy infantry lines with their charges and their mass, and can also engage and intercept enemy cavalry with ease. This makes them the go-to. It's a good idea to use anti-large variants of cavalry whenever possible. This allows you to use them as interceptors. If you ever find yourself miles away from a quest battle, remember that you can teleport to the battle with a simple click of this button here. So, instead of marching halfway across the map, traveling through enemy territory, declaring countless wars and the like, this button teleports you to the battle for a small fee, and then teleports you back to your original location after it's dealt with, carrying over any casualties, so make sure they're not being brought back to a dangerous area. Keep in mind also that to teleport your army, they can't be garrisoning a settlement, and they have to be in the stance None. When upgrading settlements, remember that elite tier buildings and ergo units are only available at the highest settlement levels. In other words, make sure you're making your provincial capitals the hubs of your military production, and use the remaining settlements primarily for economic and agricultural growth and only some military support. An army marches on its stomach and the contents of your wallet. Make sure there's plenty of growth happening, and also plenty of money to keep everything from falling apart. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it will help you take over the old world. And again, I want to thank you guys for all your support. As always, if you'd like more tips and tricks and Total War content in general, subscribe to this channel. And I'm always looking for more suggestions and requests in the comments as well. And it bears repeating, you guys are awesome, and that's what being a great general is about.